Opinion: electric vehicle used values shock the system. My forensic approach is don't buy EVs because it's going to get worse. There's more and more coming onto the market. There's more and more lies being told. There's more and more problems. June 27th, 2025. By Philip Northard, Insight Director at Cox Automotive Europe. As more electric vehicles, EVs, enter the used market, the dynamics within the marketplace are shifting. By the end of the year, Cox Automotive forecasts predict that more than 1.8 million vehicles in the used car park will be electric, which would represent a 2% increase in 2024. EV transactions are rising rapidly, now accounting for around 21% of the used market. However, 21% of the used market, I don't think that's right. Perhaps the new market. Under the surface, challenges are emerging. One such challenge is the significant variance between nearly new EVs and older models between 3 to 5 year old. On the one hand, we're seeing a rapid pace of depreciation in EVs under 24 months old, with these vehicles selling at 47% of their original cost new to trade this year. Meanwhile, EVs between 48 to 72 months old are performing particularly well, dropping only by 15%, and remain one of the fastest selling segments. For younger vehicles, aggressive manufacturer discounts are driving down the cost of these nearly new models, with many brand new vehicles retailing for less than those in the used marketplace. Now, let me just see, because I noticed this yesterday. Get a used BYD Seal from £358 per month, the electric car scheme. On Auto Trader, BYD Seal, in stock, brand new, £329 a month. You can only really sell used EVs to cash buyers, can't you? Because they're not going to save out. On the other hand, historic supply chain challenges squeeze the availability of the 3 to 5 year segment, helping them retain strong trade values. While managing these fluctuations is a challenge for the industry, there are signs that prices are stabilising. No, there aren't. Across all fuel types, we are seeing values. Let me just see. I think I know where this is going. And it should open your eyes. While managing these, again, I'm guessing, I've not read this, I'm guessing what's happening in the market, because I know what's happening in the market. But if I'm wrong, I can just click this bit out. I can just edit it out. And I'll still look smart. Across all fuel types, we are seeing values returning for more typical seasonal patterns, and are cautiously optimistic that values in the electric market will follow a similar pattern. They won't, they'll get worse and worse. Nobody wants them unless they're cheap. How can they get better? So we're talking about electric here and 3 to 5 year old stabilising and 0 to 2 year old having to give them away. Across all fuel types, we are seeing values returning to more typical seasonal patterns and are cautiously optimistic that values in the electric market will follow a similar pattern. So it's the other vehicles, the other fuel types that are doing all right, and they're hoping that electric vehicles follow a similar pattern. ICE vehicles are performing seasonally. They're hoping EVs are. Do you see the difference? Well, I hope I win the lottery this week. I'll have to do it. Lottery. Here we go. Lottery. Lottery. Highlight. If I'm not on next week, you know I've won it. This volatility does make strategic stock selection and strong retail pricing crucial to sustainability, especially within a supply-constrained environment. Commercial vehicle attitudes hinder used market. Looking at commercial vehicles, the used market remains resilient. Mannheim Auction Services saw sold volumes increase by 21% year on year in quarter one, and improvements across days to sell and first time conversions, indicating strong market health. Diesel remains the dominant fuel type in the sector as operators prioritise reliability and range. Range, yeah? Range anxiety? What about reliability? Yes, exactly. Well, we have observed growth in electric vans across the wholesale market with a 62.6% increase in electric van arrivals across Mannheim sites in quarter one. There are still roadblocks. Well, the first thing is 62.6% of what? Buyer confidence is lacking as infrastructure concerns and cost sensitivity have hindered performance. You can get a fortune off a brand new van, as these vehicles achieved 88% of guide values and only 4 in 10 vans selling first time. 88% of guide values. Unlike the passenger car market, commercial vehicles are largely driven by buyers purchasing vehicles to fulfill orders, who on average are more selective compared to car dealerships. What does this mean for the fleet sector? EVs remain a volatile segment, while petrol and diesel vehicles continue to perform consistently. These challenges leave fleet operators in a tricky position. On the one hand, the fleet market is one of the biggest sources of electric adoption, and they are getting battered for it on residuals, being driven by manufacturer supply and environmental, social and governance ESG targets. However, concerns are increasing about the viability of the used market, with the volume of EVs set to return to a market where residual values are increasingly volatile. This is particularly concerning for commercial vehicles as the buyer attitudes lag far behind cars. Now, who do you think drives the vans, and who do you think owns the vans? And why is their attitude lagging far behind cars? This buyer segment is increasingly calling for improved infrastructure and battery technology, such as solid state, which in reality won't be seen in the used market until closer to 2035. The plethora of challenges is further compounded by rising reconditioning and logistics costs, servicing costs, repair costs, everything costs. This makes for more risk-averse buyers targeting assets that will help protect their profitability. Petrol and diesels. Closely monitoring evolving market dynamics and residual values will remain a crucial facet of successful disposal strategies, and a forensic approach to stock acquisition and pricing could make a significant difference to business performance in the next 12 months. My forensic approach is don't buy EVs, because it's going to get worse. There's more and more coming onto the market. There's more and more lies being told. There's more and more problems. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.